All right. I have something I put on the screen, and I hope you have glanced through it. That's one of the things I have somewhere on my wall. I always like to go through. Of course, we know that life is a journey. We're here, and we have to find our purpose, and then keep pushing, keep pushing. It's not all rosy, as I say. There are challenges, even in grant writing, even in grant writing, even in getting money. We have the challenges, but eventually we need to develop tough skin to move through this journey before we can have success, really. So there are struggles, there are puzzles to solve, there are mysteries to unfold, untangle, there are adventures, there are challenges to meet, there are opportunities that are there. There are also songs to sing, even when it's tough. So let's be on the positive side and try to have the beauty of life. So for those who are still puzzled and struggling, please know that you are not alone. We are all in the same journey, and no one's journey is perfect from beginning to the end. There are always challenges that we need to overcome. So for me, it has been a very encouraging week, seeing all of you struggling with these things. And like I said, my maths teacher used to say, I give you 30%, 60% is self-discovery. So I have done my bit, and I am sure that you also do your own bit in going forward. Marion, do you want to speak? I don't understand what you mean by work plan. Is it an application or?
No, not the application, like a work plan that you can use to show the funder the activities that you will do to achieve what you have promised to achieve.
I think it was Wednesday I showed the timelines and milestones. More or less, that is what they will ask you to provide your timelines, and yeah, and there you have to include summary of the activities, of course. Some of them have it in their system, you just have to fill in. Some of them will ask you to include it in your application or put it as an appendix. So it's not something that is really too detailed. So you can use a Gantt chart like I showed last time to indicate what you're going to do. If you have, for instance, multi-year grant, what you're going to do each year, how long each activity is going to last. So I had a template I showed last time. I don't have one here with me now, but I could see if I get one to put in the Dropbox.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I do not have a presentation for CVs, grant submission, peer review, and managing the grant, but I will just say CVs, this varies quite a lot. This varies quite a lot. But you should read carefully what the funder is asking you how to arrange the CVs. Sometimes I've seen funders who want you to include your publications in the CV. Sometimes they want the publication to be different. For instance, in Sweden here, most of the funders have a common system of submission. So you have one system, you go there and you submit to the funder you are looking for. But what happens is that they have a profile page in the system where you put your CVs, you put list of your publications, you put things like your previous grants, your previous experiences, work experiences, and then depending on the funder you are applying, if you go to the page of that funder, they will now ask you to extract the information from your profile to the funder. And so each funder has what they ask you can extract from your profile, you know. So in that case, you do not need to write separate CV or publication list. But for some others, it's not that way. You have to do it the way they have asked you. But when you write your CV, you need to tailor your CV to the funder, the funder's requirement. You need to tailor your CV to this application you're making. For instance, if you're making an application for career development funds, which are usually called fellowships, your CV should be quite clear on the profile you have, up to that time. So you should demonstrate much of your personal experiences. Who, for instance, has supervised you, what you have done in your doctorate degree, publications you have had. Of course, these things are also in the project applications. But when you talk about fellowship applications, the fellowship applications are having so much emphasis on career development. So they want to see where you're going and where you want to go. So the profile you have built until this time should feature in your CV. Many times people put things that may be unnecessary in most cases. The different awards they have received for community service and things like that. Well, if you check the grant and see that they have such kind of focus, you can include those. But otherwise, you have to know that this is a science application you're writing, so don't put things that are distracting on the CV. But your CV should be part of the document that really supports your application, and boost it. When you write the application, sometimes the funders have a section in the application itself where you describe the investigators, where you describe the environment you are. So once you have opportunity to describe those, you don't need to um, um, describe it so much in the CV. So focus on this. Sometimes they have limit of pages for the CV. Some funders have seen ask you to include your CV only in 2 pages. Maybe this is somebody who has worked for many years, has accumulated many experiences. In that case, choose what is important and tailor it to what the funder is asking for or what the grant is focusing on. Okay, so I think that is all I can say about CVs because they vary so much across funders. And then the grant submission. When you are ready with the grant submission, your team, everybody is ready. So you need to plan to submit. Sometimes You don't need to wait until everything is ready before you begin to put information. If the submission is online, many times you can fill in some information and then come back later. You fill in some information and you come back later. So take the opportunity and start it on time. Don't wait for the last minute. And especially sometimes when the funder will want your administration to approve the grant, or your boss to approve the grant, and the approval needs to be done before the deadline. If that is the case, don't wait until the last minute before you send to your boss, because it's possible the person travels or the person is having other issues. So try to do this some days before um, the deadline is due, and get it ready. Um, if you need to get letter of support, as some uh, funders may ask, do that in time. Don't wait for the last minute. And then before you click the button of submission, please proofread again to see if everything is in place, because you can be knocked out really just by missing some of the criteria. One of the groups yesterday was talking about the font of the grant. So do this on time and do it carefully. Usually the funders will outline the criteria for reviewing the grant criteria they will use. You have to acquaint yourself with that, even when you are exploring the funder. And that was the first task I gave you the first day. So explore that to know what they are looking for. Who are the peer reviewers? Many times they announce them in the grant funder website. They announce the panel that way. What is their interest? What kind of people are there? That can give you an insight also in formatting your and writing your application to know who is there. You can do background check of them to look for what they have done, what kind of persons they are, and then you can use that information when you're processing your application. How long is the peer review going to take? When are they going to make decision? You have to have those information. And then the letter comes announcing that they have given you this grant. How do you manage it? And like I said, and I've repeated, this is not a personal money. In most cases, it is channeled through the university. So the university will open an account for you in their uh, in their finance book. They will open an account for you there, and this will be managed. So you have to explore to know, how does the university manage this? Who signs the signature? Does the university have limit of funds they release per week, per day, per month? And so you have to ensure you work with the finance people in getting your grant. You need to keep tab on the expenditures, what is left there, so from time to time you arrange meeting with the finance people to discuss the situation of things. And so the funder we usually want to get a report. If you have a multi-year grant, they may ask you to be reporting every year, at the end of every year. And that will include financial report, how much you have spent, how much is left, perhaps what you have used the money for, the activities you have undertaken, publications that have come out from the grant, and so on and so forth. So I understand these things and work with them. Okay. So any point for you at this time through the week or from what I've just said now? Please just feel free now to speak. Okay. Yeah. CO Migwe, please go ahead.
All right, Prof. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
All right, sir. There is something that I just want to ask you. You see, this grant thing, uh, in some places, when your grant comes into the university, and it comes to, let's say, finance, let's say, bursary, that's what we call it here. And bursary will be managing this money. Well, I've been a victim of a certain circumstance where the bursary, in fact, embezzled some aspects of that money. You see, these are some of the problems that we have here. You will go and write a very good grant application, which will be granted you. The money will come. You release that money to you, it becomes a problem. So this, I wish that certain things don't happen in certain places because if everything goes well, you write for a grant, you see the grant, it has come, and then the money is being released to you, and you account for the money. You account for the money, the way you received it, the way it came to you. But what I'm telling you now is the truth. I have been a victim of that kind of circumstance where the money, I even up to today, they didn't even. I don't know what they did. I don't even know how they sent back, the reports. I don't know. I, all I know is that they released some things to me, and that was the end of the grant.
Okay. Thanks for your contribution. When you say embezzled the money, I don't fully understand what that means, but you mean that somebody stole the money and used it for another thing? Because if the university operates such, financial processes, this can it just happen that way? Because you have auditing processes and all that, that they just take the who takes the money? Is it that the university takes the money or the bursary? But that being the case, I know that many places things are not done transparently, but it's always tough for your grant money to be taken just like that, because you're not alone. You need to report to the fund. You need to report to the funder. And there are other places you can go through. You have, for instance, the department, head of department. You have the institution. Someone cannot just take that. You have a process. I think you need to go to really deal with that situation. That is one. The second thing is that when I say the money comes to the university, it's not a matter of releasing the money to you. The money is not released to you. If the university actually processes your funding is not released to you, you can't get any money from that. The money is used for the services. So if you employ somebody in the project, the person becomes an employee of the university, and the money is the person's salary is paid from that. If you have expenditures to make, for instance, you want to buy um, tools, equipment for the project, then you have to um, do it through the university. So the university has to be the one to, once they have approved, because for instance, this part of the world, when you want to buy those things, you go to the system and apply to buy those things. And then your boss will review whether it is needed, and then will approve that that should be bought. And once that is approved, it goes to the finance, and the finance will coordinate the payment for that service to whichever company is supplying it. You know, so it's not, you can't get you can't get the grant money. It's not released to you to go and use. Perhaps it's done differently in different places, but this is the way usually it happens. And the same thing, for instance, people who get, let's say, top international grant like Bill and Melinda Gates, if it's coordinated in that way, it's really difficult for somebody to deal with that money, take it, and then it's not traced. And then you have to know that it's not, the money is not given into your hands. It's used to run the project based on the budget you have made. Any other point? Okay, let's move on. So some practical issues, the lecture slides are all in the Dropbox, and then the videos until yesterday are all in the YouTube channel. So please feel free to access them. The certificate of attendance, I will get that to you. And please, the group coordinators, please don't forget to send me the information I requested for at the end of the course today. Please don't forget to send me that. Just send to me via email attachment. And thank you very much for all your help this week in that regard. And so please help make it easy to assign you to your groups, change your name. I mean, add the group you are to your name. I mentioned yesterday, I think yesterday I mentioned that China Goram Ibachu will be collecting information of those who are interested in the mentoring program. Please see the email on the screen. You can take a picture and then contact her so that we can arrange this and come back to you. Yeah, I see that several of you have filled the online form. Thank you for that. And please, those who have not filled it, the online form should be filled by everybody, whether you are doing the.
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
Could you put that email again? We had not taken a shot. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's okay. So whether you are doing the video selfie or not, so everybody should complete the online form. And then in addition, those I have contacted, please do the video selfie and also send to me. I've requested that you do this and send to me by the 7th of June, please. Some people have not responded to me whether they are able to do it. So please check your email. I've sent email to those I want to do this. Please check your email and let me know whether you are able to do it, so that I can take note of that. Otherwise, I'll contact other people to help out. Yeah, so for today's presentation after lunch, this is the way we are going to go through it. So we are coming back 11:30 GMT, and we go in that direction. So group 1 until we get to, this should be group 10. Sorry about that, group 10. So I will correct it already now. So I am very, very strict with the time of this presentation. I'm very, very strict with it. So I've given each group 10 minutes to present. So please make sure your 10 minutes is your 10 minutes. Don't go over it, please, because we do not have time. Otherwise, we'll be here until evening. So 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And I believe that in 10 minutes, in 5 minutes, in 2 minutes, you can still present the key aspect of your group work. Then each group will need to send me the presentation and the text you have written on this project, the presentation and the text you have written. So send it to me. I'll put it in the Dropbox folder so that other groups will be able to have access and see what you have done. And then we stop the peer review thing. So I think this will give access to an opportunity for other groups to look at the situation of what you have done. So yesterday we looked at threat of success. We look at common pitfalls, and then we look at issues of clarity in writing. So I don't know if you have any issues, any questions with regards to what we treated yesterday. Anyone? Okay, I have 2 people raising their hands. I have Juliet. Yes, Juliet, please go on.
Yes, good morning, Prof. Just a bit of clarity. When you say we should send to you our presentation and the text, is that the write-up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, I have Chukwemeka with me, please.
Okay, Prof. Sorry, yesterday I was having a serious problem with my internet, and most of the things I didn't get them, but I was able to get some aspects of our discussions yesterday. The internet was very bad here. What I want to plead with you, the YouTube, the YouTube, addresses. I have not seen any. I've gone to the Dropbox. I didn't see any.
Yeah,
So
Eman has been quite fantastic putting those links. I have been seeing those coming. Perhaps Eman can help to refresh them again, but otherwise she has been putting those on the chat. You see where you can write message on the Zoom here, with that place there. So Eman is putting it, but if not, I think while you're going for your work this morning, I can put them on the screen so that you can have them in the presentation, so that if you take them from the Dropbox, you can have, but I see Eman has been doing that as well. So everything is available for you and nothing is lost.
thank you, sir. I'm grateful.
Okay. Any other person? Any other person? Please feel free now. From what we did yesterday, do you have any? Okay, just want to say, yeah, this shouldn't even be cost evaluation, should be other courses. So I correct this. Just want to say that this is one of the courses, and this is the third course we have offered during the course of this 1 year. We started this this project. So on your screen are some other ones that we have in place.
We can't
And
see.
You can't?
We can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen.
I can see.
You can see. Do you see the list of the courses here?
I can see.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So is there another person? It looks like only the men are seen. I hear men's voice.
I can see.
Great, great.
I can also see.
Yeah. And now I hear
Yes,
the
yes, we
women's.
can see it. I can
Great.
see it.
Great.
I can see it.
Okay. And then Eman has put the links on the chat. So COME, please look. You can see those links.
I can see.
Great. Okay. So as you can see, we have given this last year, July, and it's coming up this year, July again. And the scientific writing and publishing will come towards the end of the year. So please look out for that. And we had this reproducibility in scientific research in January this year, and then it will come around January, February next year around the same time. And we had participants view, which we made into the video using the selfie, which we'll do also for this course. So that was based on this course here. And there are other future courses we like to do, and some of this, the idea will be to collaborate with some other institutes that have the same ambition as we have to develop some high-level career development and leadership in science courses. And this is still in the pipeline, and possibly this may not come during the 3-year time we are offering these trainings for free, but more information will come. So this will be very important courses for those who want to develop their leadership skills in science.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
The art of scientific writing and publishing, what does that mean? Will it happen 1 month, then the next month, then the next month, or will it be split into?
No. What I mean is that it may come in October or it may come in November. We are not sure yet which of this month it will come. So that's why I put this.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but we'll let you know as soon as we are clear of the date. Okay. Yeah. So now let me send you to your groups so that you can continue what you're doing to finalize. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good
I
morning.
joined a bit late, so I wouldn't know if you had earlier mentioned the format of the presentation you want us to put together. Aside, the text is the comprehensive document, as everything, but are there specific things you are looking at so that we don't overcrowd our presentation and we are sure of what exactly you want to see? I don't know if you had discussed that, so I felt I should bring it up since I didn't meet that discussion, sir.
No, I didn't give pointers of what you should put there because I have trusted your abilities to really perform excellently here. So, but otherwise, we have gone through some sections of the proposal or grant application in this course. So I expect that you highlight to us those. One would be, how did you choose your topic? What topic did you choose? From which topic area? And then we would like to see how does that influence Africa's development? How would that have an impact? Then the title, perhaps you can give us a hint of how you came about the title of your project. Then you have the EMS page. You don't need to put everything in EMS page because it to be too crowded. You don't have much time, but you can highlight to us what your aims are, and then we have the 4-paragraph approach. You can give us quickly what aspects are within those paragraphs. Then you can highlight to us background and significance of the study, what previous studies have done, and then why you have chosen this topic, and what is the significance of your topic, what you're doing. And then the methods, you present that as well. You can then elaborate on the impact. Now, I think you can give us just a snapshot of the budget because I think you may not have clear. You need some times to really think through the budget. So, but if you have thought about that, you can give us a snapshot of that. So your presentation is just only 10 minutes. So don't make it too long. The document that you will send, which every one of us will have access to, if people want to check the details, check there, and then you can refer that, okay, details are in document on this aspect. Okay, I hope that is helpful enough.
Thank you, Prof. Yes, sir.
Okay, I have Kia, please.
Hello, Prof.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you. I'm sorry for joining too late in the session because I had an emergency somewhere and I joined, but till now I don't know when are we going to present group number 10 nuggets, because
you are absolute. It is now actually before we leave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's now. Sorry, I almost forgot that. Thanks for reminding me.
Okay.
So if there are no other questions, I think I will allow group 10 to present their nugget now. And please, just to remind you, put your group to your name. Put your group to your name so that when I assign, it is clear. Just put your group to your name. While group 10 is presenting the nuggets.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everybody.
Morning.
Yes, good morning, Prof. So can you see my presentation?
Clearly.
Yeah. This is group number 10. Nugget,
Yes, yes.
and the is a document that was wrote by Elizabeth Payne. And the content for this article is just highlighting how to budget your grant proposal. But what this author did is just to compile the questions that are being raised by junior scientists and answers that have been responded by experienced scientists. So this is our work that we are going to share. And the first question that mostly asked is about how important is the budget in a research proposal and how precise and detailed should be. And the answer for this, they normally say, a precise estimate of the budget is really the best approach to win a grant. And the budget should be sufficiently detailed and accurate. And there is no point in requesting your dream budget if you cannot justify it. This is the answer from the expertise. And another question is about at what stage of preparing an application do you start thinking about budget? So the answer is, once you have a general idea of the research questions, sometimes it might depend on your discipline, because other disciplines, they normally put the budget at the end of the project work. And another question is about how do you put the budget together? So the answer for this is, a good place to start is to carefully read the grant call and the conditions to see what can be funded and what cannot be, so that you can tailor your budget accordingly. And another question is about once you have gotten the funding, how do you keep track of your spending? What happens if you go over or under budget? So the answer for this is, most academic institutions provide investigators with monthly budget report. So you need to monitor the progress so that to avoid the overspending or underspending. So in case if you go under budget, normally the funding agents, they normally require the residues to being returned. So this is amazing situations. I don't want everybody to return the money, but this is the situation is. In the case if you over budget, so the funding agent will not provide more money that they funded to start with. So the last question is about, do you have any further advice for scientists who are new to the budget? So the answer for this is, it is important for all young scientists to develop a feel for what resources are needed for their research. Being direct and straightforward about their expenses is important. Even if you are a junior, so make sure you provide a detailed budget for your project. And maybe before doing this, you could maybe consult other experienced, other your experienced other mentor to provide more information about, and sometimes they can give you some previous projects so that you can learn through from the budget, and then from there you will be able to develop a comprehensive budget for your project. Otherwise, this is how it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, group 10 for that. I think the aspect you have mentioned, we have emphasized that, and it's very, very critical. So please take note about that. If you have money left, some of the funders will want you to return the money. Currently I face the same situation. I have 2 grants I have received, and the COVID they stopped, and I need to return it, but really it's difficult to get money and take it back. Who will want to do that? Because money is good to use it to do your project. So we have a smart way of trying to do that. So because the funder will want us to be able to use it for other things, then I will discuss with my colleagues to use the money if they have longer time to use theirs. So use mine, and then when it's time, I can use theirs. So that is the way you can maneuver that. Okay, so let me open the rooms now so that you go there, except somebody has any burning issue. So please take your time. We will return sharp 11:30 GMT, and once we return, group 1 will start because we have to finish quite on time. All right, see you later. And I'm here. If you have any question, just invite me to your room, then I will come. Those who have not put their names on their, their rooms and their number, please do that so that I can send you to your rooms. Nesreen E. Morsi, what room are you? And Safa. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you are all ready. I think we just kick off with group 1. So please keep to your time, 10 minutes, and then we discuss. So each group presents for 10 minutes, and we have around 5 minutes discussion and go to the next group. Is it group 1 ready? Do you hear me?
Yes, Professor.
Okay, so group 1, is group 1 here? Group 1? Let me see those who are in group 1. I have Dorothy, I have Epiphany, I have Jocelyn, Luis, Uchewaji. None of you here? I can see some of you. Who is presenting on behalf of group 1? Okay, group 1 seems not. Let's go to group 2. Is group 2 there? If you're speaking, unmute yourself and speak. Group 2? I have Danma, Beatrice, Eman, Emilia, Fentanesh, Joel, Celia. Who is speaking for group 2? Okay, let's go to group 3.
Thank you, Prof. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay. All right. So I'll try to share our slide. Okay. So on behalf of Group 3, I present our work. Actually, we decided to look at the concept of the topic of diabetes mellitus in children in Africa, trends, impact, and the policy recommendation. The outline will talk about introduction, aims and objectives, the impact, methodology, and the budget. Now, diabetes, as we all know, is a metabolic disease that causes high blood pressure as a result of either insufficient production of insulin or when the body is unable to utilize the insulin that is produced. Generally, we have two types of diabetes, the 1 and 2. One is commonly found in children. We often call that juvenile diabetes. Different factors have been identified to cause diabetes, some of which are genetic, others are not. It's often said that viral infection can trigger diabetes. Now, diabetes has also been identified as being among the top 10 diseases that are causes of mortality among children. In fact, it was identified as the 9th cause of disease mortality among children in Africa, globally. And even though it's on the 9th position, the first 3 are actually observed to be caused by to have diabetes as a risk factor. So what it means is that diabetes is actually a very important disease that has to be considered in the fight against diseases. Now, despite the active research that's going on, there's still no cure for diabetes. Often the attempt is to try to manage the blood sugar level through daily administration of insulin and other life-changing styles. Now, globally, about 65,000 children under 15 years of age develop diabetes, and a consistent increase has been observed over the years. On the graph here, we have the trend of diabetes from 1920 up to 2020, up to 2000, and we see a clear increase in the incidence. And this incidence has been attributed to superimposition of environmental causes on genetic causes. Now, the cost of management of diabetes is actually high. It was identified that about $2,500 is spent on an individual person who is managing diabetes in America. So looking at this cost, we see that the cost of managing diabetes is actually quite high. And so there's a need for us to continue to find better ways of preventing, managing the disease. On the issue of data, checking on the World Health Organization website, we noticed that Africa is still lagging behind in terms of availability of data, so much so that only 11 of the African countries currently have a register on diabetes. And that suggests the need for us to continue to do research in Africa to better understand the trends of diabetes in Africa and the impact of it and how it can be curbed. So on the map here, the red areas are those that were said not to have registers on diabetes. And so we see that a greater portion of Africa actually does not have a coordinated data on diabetes. Okay, so so what we seek to do in our project is to determine the prevalence of type 1 diabetes among children in Africa, to assess the awareness level of children and caregivers in Africa, evaluate the disease management practices among caregivers of children with type 1 diabetes. Analysis, we also seek to analyze the economic burden of type 1 diabetes on families of children with diabetes, and also to assess the impact of the disease on education of affected children. How does the disease impact the quality of education received by these children? Then finally, we seek to provide recommendation and policy direction that will enable people suffering from the disease, as well as policymakers, to efficiently prevent and manage the disease. So these are the aims and objectives of our project. Now, the impact of our project. Once we are able to implement our project, we are going to be able to get enough data that will help to increase the data availability on diabetes in Africa, and that would help us understand better how we are doing in Africa and how well we can keep the spread of the disease. The real burden of disease in Africa will then be determined through the project, and that will pave way for us to get everybody on board, for us to charter a better path to fight the disease. Then with increased awareness about the disease, families will be in better position to be able to manage their children with diabetes, because some may not be using the appropriate procedures in managing their children with diseases. So once this research is done and then the results are disseminated, parents who have children with diabetes would then be able to manage them properly. Then all of these will help to reduce absenteeism in school, improve child productive hours, and then quality of learning. Methodology. What we want to do is to, we will not be able to, for the start, to take care of the whole of Africa. So what we intend to do is to take a country from each of the regions of 4 regions of Africa. So we'll take that one and map that out in the project to study the effect of lifestyle, dietary patterns, parents' educational background, among others.
2 minutes more. 2 minutes more.
Okay, sorry. Selected parents of children from all communities will be interviewed using mixed forms of questionnaire, focus group discussions, target interviews for opinion leaders, health workers, and caregivers. We will also, in order to get quantitative data, we will use both univariate and multivariate methods of analysis to check, to study quantitative data. We'll use univariate and multivariate methods of analysis to check changes between regions and within sects, between countries and within countries. Similar thing will be used for the qualitative data. There's still a methodology, a multi-stage design will be used for recurrent recruitment of participants for the project, because we will not be able to do all of the interviews alone. Then also use exploratory research and quasi-experimentation to obtain participants' historical lifestyle and managing strategies, so that if those who are unable to manage it well are identified, then those ones could be educated well as to how to manage their disease. Then we have our budget. Here, a total amount of $360,000 is what we are seeking to be able to implement our project. Thank you. Sorry, the dissemination plan, the results of this study will be shared with stakeholders, including hospital superintendent, health workers, and parents of children. This will help on identifying interventions required to prevent 3 carriers of type 1 diabetes in Africa and the world. So the data that is going to be generated from this will definitely be published, and that will be made available for all those who are doing research and policy makers to use. So these are our references. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Group 3, for what you have done. Do you have the main document where you have written this in detail?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. All right, let's open the discussion. Does anyone have anything to ask or say? We can do that quickly. We have 5 minutes. So Group 3, is any of you in the mentoring program? Did you indicate interest?
Not yet, Prof, but I intend to do so.
Okay.
I don't so, sir.
Okay, that's good. So I think it would be good that you bring this forward there.
Okay.
So that while we read the full text, we can begin to make more comments on what you're trying to do here, and see if there are possibilities of taking this forward, even to apply for a grant itself.
Okay, Prof.
Okay. So anyone from other groups who wants to add something or ask question? Okay, just a quick one. I want to say that, yeah, from the structure you have presented, I'm quite happy with the way you have been bold to tackle this. But one thing is that, for instance, if you look at your title, trends, impact, and recommendations. If I take each of these, they are quite big things. So, but this depends on the project you want to do. Is it big project? Is it a small project? Is it a multi-year project? But if you combine all these, then it means that you are aiming for systemic change eventually, and that will take some time to do this. The other thing is that when you were presenting, then you make indication lack of data in some places. And your methodology, you indicated that you compare some countries that have high rate of the disease to other countries. So one of the questions the reviewers may want to ask, if there are lack of data, so how do you determine countries that are high? And if you do not have reliable data, even if you see that a country has high rates, is that based on comprehensive data in that case? So the point I'm making here is that your study may first of all require pilot preliminary to investigate what is there. What data do countries have? You know, and that becomes an important question itself that can form a project. Before you go into impact, because you need to have the data to begin to assess what is the level of impact here.
Okay.
So just to quickly say that if I am to work on this, I will first of all, maybe you can have a catchy title, really. Diabetes amongst African children. Where are the data? Who is affected? Because that is the main thing I saw coming out from what you have presented, that we don't have sufficient data, even though we know that this disease is problematic, even though it is ranking around 9th, but it's a risk factor for even the top 3. Okay, so you have established that, but now how do we have information of who is affected and the data? I think if nobody is speaking, I will stop here. I think there are a few things we can look at when we look at your proposal in detail. So please try to join the mentoring program, then we can fine tune some other areas here.
All right. Thank you, Prof.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's go to group 4.
Before we go, please, when do you expect us to send the complete write-up? Because we still have some small editing to do.
Yeah, I think I plan to give you a week's time for all the groups to put things together and send to me.
Okay.
Because it's good to start these meetings when our head is still hot and we have the motivation. Okay.
Grateful.
All right, you can stop sharing. Let group 4 present. Is group 4 there?
Yes, group 4 is there, so we are going to present. And Emeka.
Yes, please. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, Professor and other participants here present. This is group 4. If you look at the background of our slide, you'll see a picture of COVID, and you can see that the names of the people presenting in group 4. You can see us. So slide 1, please. Slide 1. Next slide. Hello? Okay. So we have a presentation outline, we have introduction, background, project objectives, methods, timeline, budget, and references. Okay. The title of our presentation is, next slide, please. The title of our presentation is Technology-Aided Capacity Building Among Youth Amidst COVID-19 Pandemic in Africa. The aim of the project. The impact of COVID-19 on youth, on young people in Africa has been quite enormous, and about 8% of the entire population have disorientation and doubtful future career positions. About 65% of this have obstacles with the flow of academics, and they also have to make adjustments to accommodate the current learning techniques. So impact of COVID-19 pandemic has gone beyond fiscal effects, and has also affected the economy of individuals and the education of the various people concerned. Millions have lost their jobs, and the education system has also been disrupted, and people are not able to perform their daily activities. So despite the negative effects of the pandemic, this crisis has presented an opportunity to use another aspect of teaching to improve the lives of people concerned. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide.
Who is operating it?
Next slide.
So it's already their background.
Okay. Now, the background of the study. African youth needs a space that will allow them to contribute their innovations in the post-pandemic recovery. In Nigeria, the youth population eligible to work is estimated to be over 40 million. And according to the National Bureau of Statistics, about 14.7 million fully employed, and another 11.2 million are unemployed. And 64% of these are currently, of this population, currently jobless. Then in Uganda, people below the age of 24 make up to 77% of the entire population, and of this, 62% of the young people have limited ability to meet basic needs of life, while 30% have social economic disruption. In Kenya, coronavirus pandemic has also rendered young people jobless, while some are also affected psychologically. Research has also demonstrated that access to skills training has been reduced in Kenyan youth population by over 50%. One way to ensure continuous learning, skill acquisition, and job sustainability is to develop, deploy digital platforms through which the youth can learn and work from home comfortably. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. Now, the project objectives. The project goal is one, to provide a technology-based, a technology-enhanced strategy that has the potential to improve capacity building because it is universal. It's going to be universal, universally accessible, feasible, cost-effective, and promote diverse innovations. The model is sustainable to the entire globe and easy to monitor and evaluate. Now, the general objective here is to provide an online platform to improve livelihood of African youth aged 15 to 24 years that have been affected by COVID-19. Now, specific objectives here include one, to increase knowledge among African youth aged 15 to 24 years up to 80% by the year 2023. And number two is to increase skills acquisition among African youths aged 15 to 24 years up to 90%, among whom we expect to acquire knowledge by the year 2023. And the third point here is to provide an automated counseling platform to all, that is about 100%, the mentally affected youth aged 15 to 24 years by the year 2023. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay.
All right, I will take it from there.
You have 2 minutes, group 4, 2 minutes more.
Wow, okay. The methods are, the design is educational technology, which will blend technological approach that includes video-based modeling, audio cueing, and video prompting. The next slide, please, dear Pista. The study participants are African youth aged 15 to 24 that will be selected from Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt, and Sudan. And the sample size will be 1 million participants from all the countries, from those countries that have been mentioned. Next slide. Objective: to increase knowledge among African youths aged 15 to 24, 80% African youth knowledge, yeah. The hypothesis is that the online platform will increase knowledge to improve the livelihood among the youth in Africa, and the alternative hypothesis is that the online platform will not increase knowledge to improve the livelihood among the youth in Africa. Next slide, please. For objective 2 is to increase skills acquisition among African youths aged 15 to 24 years, that's 90% of them, among those who will have attained the knowledge by 2023. And some of that topics or areas to be skilled include agriculture, mechanics, embroidery, photo development, art and design, IT skills, and tailoring. The next slide, please. Objective 3 is to provide an automated counseling platform to help all the mentally affected youth aged 15 to 24 years by 2023. The hypothesis is that the automated platform will increase access to counseling among the mentally affected in Africa, and the alternative is that the automated platform will not increase access to counseling among the mentally affected youth in Africa, and the platform will provide question and answer sessions that are available 24/7. Next slide. Objective 4 is to provide employment opportunities to the best performing youth based on skill acquisition and practice on the learning platform. The hypothesis is that the best performing youths, as far as skills acquisition and practices are concerned, will be provided with employment opportunities, and the alternative hypothesis is that they will not be provided with employment opportunities. Web design applications, graphic design, data analysis, and software will help attain at least 70% youth will be able to access the online-based learning. Next slide. Data analysis will be both qualitative and quantitative. Next slide.
Okay, I think group 4, I will stop you here because
Okay, thank you.
Our time is running so fast. I guess some of you in group 4 have indicated interest in the mentoring program. Is it? If so, please bring this there, because I think there are interesting things personally I see from what you're building here. But I think we need to streamline this because I see you mentioned knowledge impact, then you have skills acquisition, and then you have as a counseling platform for those who have mental problems. So one thing I want to say here is that you can actually develop 3 sets of projects here. Combining all of them will be really too overwhelming. That is one. The second thing is given the situation of Africa, having such an online platform, how is it going to work in reality? For instance, this course is attended by elite like you. You can see the challenges that have been there in terms of people connecting, instead of people staying for the period of the course because of network challenges and so on and so forth. So those are some of the things that need to be looked into. It needs to be evaluated carefully, you know. So I will stop here, and then if there is anyone who wants to ask a question, otherwise we'll go to the next group, and then please bring this to the mentoring program so that we can look more carefully into this. Okay.
Yes, Prof.
Yes, please.
Okay. My name is Owi Gwesa in Group 4.
Yeah.
I think the problem of internet one can overcome that by having pre-recorded training programs. Pre-recorded training programs.
Okay. Let's discuss more of this when you come. Let's discuss, because the other thing is that you have also used Africa as a whole. One of the things the viewers will ask will be, why don't you try it in one country first? Let's see how it works. And then you can talk about replication in other places. But I think we can continue this discussion then, because as I mentioned, if you plan, what are contingency plans you can have in case it doesn't work the way you have visualized it. So this pre-recorded thing you're talking about can be one way you can outline in the application, because if you don't put it there, the viewers are not in your mind. It needs to be indicated, contingency plans, if we have network issues. Okay. All right, let's give group 5 time to present. Group 5, are you there?
Hi, Prof. Could you skip us and then we'll go after the next one?
Really?
Kind of. Yes.
I didn't like the skipping. I wanted the groups to present in that order. But let's go to group 6. So it will depend how much time we have when we come back to the other groups. Group 6, are you ready? Okay, great.
So good afternoon or morning. Group 6 is will be presented by Amanda. So our topic is from the effects of poverty on societies in Africa, and we are looking at poverty and masculinities, and an exploration of men's experiences of gender-based violence in select sub-Saharan countries. So the group members are here. Okay. Okay. Our outline begins with the aims and expectations of our project, the background, methodology, budget, and the work plan. So the overall aim of this project is to explore how men who are living in poverty or have lost their status as providers in their homes is making them susceptible to gender-based violence or intimate partner abuse. It is also to ascertain the forms of abuse experienced and its implication. We are hoping that at the end of the study, we will in the long run be able to highlight men's experience of gender-based violence, which is missing in literature, aid education and sensitization on gender-based violence by advocates, researchers, clinicals, amongst others, draw attention to the formulation of gender-based violence policies that will be inclusive or responsive to men's experience of gender-based violence, and also aid in introducing poverty alleviation interventions for vulnerable males. So the link between poverty and sexual and gender-based violence is widely established in literature, both from Africa and other countries, advanced countries. The key suggestion is that poverty underpins the experiences of gender-based violence, especially economic dependence on the perpetrator. Women's poor economic status and their dependence on men has been identified as a factor that makes them vulnerable to abuse from men. When you come to men's specific issues, we realize that in masculinity studies, it is also acknowledged that poverty marginalizes men when you are looking at the hierarchy of men and exposes them to discrimination even within men's groups. And in terms of poverty in the home, men also bear a bigger burden due to their social status as providers, especially in our context where we make males breadwinners, so they take complete responsibility for. What is missing in literature, however, is what happens to men, these breadwinners, in their homes when they lose their jobs. All the existing literature talks about women's experience of abuse because of poverty. But looking at our context and the role men play, we think it's important that we look at what are men's experiences as well. Where there are studies on men's experience of intimate partner violence, for example, they show that men experience some form of abuse through how children are isolated from them or taken from them, and also manipulation in terms of their gender stereotype roles. Also evident is the fact that the studies have come from the global north, advanced countries like Canada, US. Africa has limited data on that, even though it affects men because most of them are in the provider role. What this study intends to do, therefore, is to bridge this gap by looking at how poverty in men in select sub-Saharan African countries may predispose them to IPV, and then the implication of that for gender-based violence policies, amongst others, as I identified earlier. We seek to look at a mixed method designs and carry a 12-month project. We are looking at countries such as Ghana, Nigeria, Cape Verde, South Africa, Kenya, Togo, Gambia, Sudan, Benin, and Senegal. We chose these countries for geographical representation because there's limited data. We feel if we cover a number of countries, it will be easy for us to be able to have reflective data that people can build on. The language is spoken. Our argument is also that Francophone versus Anglophone countries, amongst others, will, may bring up different dynamics into this experiences. Then the background of researchers, most of us are from Ghana, Nigeria, Cape Verde, so we thought that we could start from our countries. Then the prevalent rate of sexual and gender-based violence in countries. South Africa, for example, records highest number of sexual and gender-based violence against females, as well as masculinity violence against men. So we think that when we have these dynamics, it will help us to be able to identify what happens. We are seeking to target males and females 18 years above living in these countries because we believe they can offer us the kind of information we want. We seek to use the criterion sampling technique, which looks at the identifiers that you want. And for identifiers, they are the sex of the participant, age, and then their country location. We seek to do, based on our research design, surveys and individual interviews and focus group discussions. We're also going to use face-to-face data collection techniques where we use, and as well as online, where we can use Twitter, LinkedIn, Telegram, amongst others to recruit participants for the survey, because we're basically looking at their perceptions, and then do focus group discussions, which are looking specifically at men's lived experience of gender-based violence. So data management will be transcribing the interviews. We use SPSS for the quantitative data, and then Atlas TI in analyzing our qualitative data. For the quantitative data, we use descriptives, correlation, and regression analysis, whilst interpretative, phenomenological, discourse analysis, and narrative analysis will be used in analyzing the data for the qualitative. The idea is to pick out their true lived experiences and how these tell the story of what they are going through and what they're experiencing. For our budget line, we have a budget line of $345,266. And this is how we break down our budget lines. Will be for the project teams, the principal investigator gets about 14,400, and the rest of the team gets about 12,000. We'll hire technicians, we'll need enumerators to gather the data on the ground for us, research assistants in the various countries to help us with language barrier. And also we'll need equipment and travel to those countries. So this is how we've itemized our cost. And for the period, this is how we're going to align our activities. We hope at the end of the data gathering and everything, we'll be able to publish to inform policy and information, as well as to engage advocates and other participants. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, fantastic. I really like Group 6 presentation. Not because not because I compare to other groups, no, but because this is a very sensitive issue, isn't it? A very sensitive issue, and trying to uncover areas that less is known. I think there is a potential you have here in Group 6 to get this attracted not only to local agencies that fund, but also the international agencies. Why I say that is that in my university here, recently I was reading the university newsletter, and one researcher from Cameroon, he went to Cameroon, and his research is to look at how men's role in childbearing is. I think he wants also to look at a historical perspective to see if there are changes. Because in Africa, a woman gives birth, and then the man is, it's not part of that process. But that is not what happens here in Europe. In Europe, you are there holding your wife's hand while she's giving birth. So this was quite flashing news that was carrying the newspaper, and I think many people read that. And it's similar to what you are trying to do here. I think this should be attractive, and I think many reviewers will see that this is something they can identify with in terms of recommending for funding. But let's go to your title. Let me see, because while you have interesting thing to do, but I think you can shorten this this title and make it quite catchy. Yeah, I know you have masculinities there, but you can also be more sexy somehow, so that people are easily catch catch it. But is any of you registered in the mentoring program?
I've sent my name to the lead person. I'm sure
Okay.
that we're going to.
Okay, because I don't know what plan you have. You want this to become a reality or just for this project here? I think you have a potential to. Okay,
Yes,
great.
Prof, I'm there too.
Okay, great. So let's continue that discussion there and see how we can tweak this, because I see that given the current situation you have identified, linking it to COVID as well, this is a social problem that that needs looking into. Okay, thank you very much. And let's go to group 7.
Yes, good afternoon, Prof. Let me just share my slide. Okay, I hope you can see the slide now.
Yeah.
Okay, our proposed project topic title, Incorporating New Technologies to Reform Post-Pandemic Secondary School Curriculum in Southeastern Nigeria. And these are our team members. The outline of our presentation and our introduction there. We are looking at the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic and how it affected this particular area in Nigeria. And we are looking at a situation where quite a number of schools were closed down and leading to over 46 million children having no access to education during this period. And of these, of the 10.3 million secondary school students, about 81% are in public schools. So the currently used face-to-face teaching methods were therefore a risk of contracting the disease for students and teachers. Unfortunately, neither the students nor the teachers have the know-how of how to use online spaces and the technology environment. And we started off with our overarching aim, which was to solve this problem. We would need to review the secondary school curriculum and teaching methods in order to inculcate the e-learning techniques in post-pandemic education. And our objectives, we have 2 baseline objectives, 1 and 2, to evaluate existing secondary schools curriculum and teaching methods through document review and observations. And objective 2, to ascertain appropriate e-learning teaching methods suitable for secondary schools through review of literature, conferences, workshops, etc. Number 3, the implementation objective, to introduce and implement e-learning curriculum teaching methods in secondary schools by training different levels of on appropriate e-learning techniques, in the identified e-learning schools. This would enhance the learning process and the use of e-learning techniques. And then finally, the 4th objective, which zeroes on evaluation, would then need to evaluate the effect of e-learning curriculum of the teachers and students in Southeastern Nigeria. And the impact, we hope that the proposed study will establish new training methods that will equip the teachers on relevant online skills and changes in the curriculum. And the revised school curriculum would provide a balance between the use of technologies by both teachers and students, and also equip them with new capacities in e-learning technologies, hence increasing their knowledge on the use of teaching and learning in learning schools. And then the significance the study. Given the nature of the problem, we hope that the study will highlight the challenges and problems faced in these Nigerian schools insofar as e-learning is concerned. It will also aid to provide direction for investing, it will also aid to provide direction, especially for investors, government in education, especially regarding the new e-learning methods for students and teachers. We hope that the study will reduce the knowledge gap between the sharing of knowledge between the students and the teachers, and also enhance the viability of e-learning methods not only in Nigeria, but in different African communities. And then our methods, we basically intend to use the qualitative methods of inquiry and analysis. Qualitative methods of inquiry and analysis will be employed in this research. And this will include document and video reviews, key informant interviews, and direct observations. Excuse me. So what we basically did was to take each objective and align it to the method, and then also highlight the instrument and the targeted sample. So for objective 1, qualitative method would be used, and these are our instruments, and the schools will be targeted, the heads of schools and the teachers. Objective number 2, we use again the qualitative design and instruments used, document review, video review, and KII. And then we are targeting, once again, the current learning, e-learning curriculum and the methods that are used, and the various subject teachers and KII within e-learning and IT experts. And then number 4, the intervention method would be used, where we would train, which involves training of students and teachers on e-learning methods. So workshops, seminars, and training of trainers would be the instrument. Then we would have students, head of teachers, head of schools, subject teachers, and IT personnel will be targeted. And then finally, the 4th objective would use document reviews, direct observation, key informant interview, and then would actually look at the new e-learning curriculum, and through direct observation of learning, teaching, and the use of direct observation of learning, teaching methods. And that was our budget. And we split it to indicate the personnel position, the different experts in the study, and then the statistical and program support, the supplies, what we would need, then the contribution and cooperation with other universities, and then finally the workshops that would be conducted for the study to materialize.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much. Group 7, I'll stop you here. Anybody who has any question for group 7? Okay, I think this is very interesting project, very interesting, and also timely project, like the one presented by group 4. Yeah, group 4. But you know, when you go to slide 6 there, if you click slide 6 there, if really you want this to get through funding, I wouldn't include objective 1 and 2.
Okay.
I would take time to ensure that I have those already the data from those two, so that my application will be based on objective 3 and 4, because that is really what we need now. You know, if you describe 1 and 2, most of the information is there, because in your introduction, you already highlighted that what the COVID has brought, and the fact that it has made things difficult for pupils to learn, you know. So what question people will be asking is, how can we change the situation? That is where you have the implementation. Objective 1 and 2 will not sell so much, you know. So think about that. The other thing you may also think is really feasibility. Are you focusing on children in the cities or rural places, or how do you do that when you talk about technology? So those are some of the things you need to think about. But I think some of you from Group 7 have registered to the mentoring.
I'm not so sure if there's anybody who registered.
Okay. Otherwise, I would say you bring this there so that we can help to see how we can fine tune this.
Okay.
There may be some also other strategies like this going around in maybe in other countries, and then you can pick things from there to see how you can advance this. But otherwise, I think you have made a very great effort to think about this and to see how you can align it with what we have learned this week. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, let's go to Group 8. Yeah, somebody's asking, how do we register? Chinagoram, if you can, I think I highlighted the email in the morning. If you can just put your email into the chat box so that those who have not done so can do that. Okay, Group 8, go on. So you have 10 minutes, Group 8, go on.
Is everybody there? Good afternoon. So we are the effect of this Group 8.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are looking at the effect of COVID-19 on the academic performance. We are looking at the effect of COVID-19 on the academic performance of senior high school students in the Greater Accra region of Ghana. Our presentation outline looks like this: objectives, background, methodology, sampling and participant, tools of data collection, methods of analysis, impact, budget, and work plan. The main objective is to investigate. Just a minute, I want to exit the main screen. Effect of COVID-19 on the academic performance of senior high school students in Ghana. Our specific objective is to also to assess
Christian, I think we are not hearing you. Your line is very bad, Christian.
By illnesses, in child background, content outbreak. Okay, again, I'm looking our background. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, can hear you. Can hear you.
Hello. Yes, the background is the coronavirus outbreak disturbed lives around the world in 2020. So much so that various have been affected in many ways, including education. Many governments responded by introducing measures that could reduce the spread of the pandemic. In the education sector, many countries suspended the face-to-face teaching and exams. It is estimated that approximately 825 million people or learners worldwide are currently affected due to school closures in response to the pandemic. While all the pupils and students were at home, the numbers kept rising. And so for our contest in Ghana, the president directed that all final year students should go home. The study, therefore, is to assess the impact of the lockdown amidst COVID-19 on Ghanaian students for senior high schools in Accra, and to explore possible barriers raised by the pandemic for the poor performance taking region in consideration. The methodology, we are using mixed methods to evaluate the students and teachers' situation during the COVID-19 in academic year 2021. The term mixed method here refers to an emergent methodology of research findings. Our sampling and participants will cover the Greater Accra region of Ghana as the most populated region in Ghana. We are using multi-stage sampling that will be used for selecting the high schools and classes within the region. All students meeting certain criteria from the selected class will be eligible to participate. Tools of data collection. For the descriptive part, while gathering data in the focus group discussion, two different methods will be used for the teachers and students separately. Before that, the survey will be piloted, that is the pre-testing stage. The methods of analysis, the study will make use of different analytical techniques. That's quantitative analytical tools will be adopted for different data sets. Results will be presented in tables, graphs, charts, as well as figures. We are also going to take notes and records when we are doing the qualitative survey during the focus group discussion. This will be transcribed and the transcript will be entered into NVivo version 9.0. A thematic framework for coding will be developed after familiarization with the data set, which will reflect the various discussion questions. Our impact, the impact is that the infrastructure facilities should be availed or should be made available to the education institutions, which can regulate the digital learning processes during the future education emergencies. There is need, therefore, to ensure adequate funding for the improvement of the education system and to provide capacity building or development training of the stakeholders or second cycle institution. Our references as follow, and then our budget. Surprisingly, it looks very tiny here, but at first it was bigger. And our work plan also didn't appear well. These are the group members: Abia, Chinganoro, Christian, Folonshaw, Bello, Ngaza, and Salma. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Group 8. You had some time. You still have up to 4 minutes, but you rush. Let's go to your first page, your title.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go to the first page where you have your title.
Yes, please.
Okay. Does anyone have any point to discuss to bring up for Group 8?
Yeah, I thought may I speak?
Yes, please, Prof.
Yeah, the title says,
come again, please.
The title says effect of COVID-19 on the academic performance.
Yes, please.
I didn't see your design. What would be your design? An intervention or an observational? I didn't catch it.
We are actually using questionnaire.
So how would you
observational study?
How would you determine the effects? How would observational determine effects? Because observational is more like a snapshot, and usually effect has to do with measuring what they were before, before COVID-19, and then what they are after COVID-19 or at a particular point in the COVID-19 timeline.
Yes. Yes, please.
I can explain that point.
The questionnaire cannot do that.
I think Sama is speaking.
Yeah, if you read carefully the methodology, in the methodology part, we explain that we are going to compare the results of the students before COVID-19 and after COVID-19 and see how far their performer is, if affected compared with the class average and also with the previous results.
Is it on the same subject? These are some of the areas
all the
confounders will
results.
come in.
Yeah, all the academic results.
But they are not going to be the same subjects at the time you are doing their analysis.
I think that will be under the criteria. Maybe we can take some subjects that's the same subjects each year, and we can have the grade or the final credits of each subject, or the final credits of as a whole.
Now, if it's not the same subject at the beginning, sometime in the past.
Also bear in mind that we rate them per the year that they have taken. That's a WASI standard. So definitely we are not going to follow the same subject, but we are going to do comparison anyway.
Now, there's going to be a lot of confounders if they are not really comparable. For instance, if you are taking a subject A at say 2020 March and 2023, they are still the same students and you are taking the same subject, that is easier. But if there are different subjects at different times, a lot of confounders will be involved.
I think while we are going to analyze that, we are going to take care of those confounders.
Maybe we can fine tune it, but actually we are looking at the final years.
Okay.
Maybe we can
let me come in here. Let me come in here.
Yes,
I think the point.
Observing the first year.
Christian, are you hearing me?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. So I think what Prof is highlighting is quite important for you to consider, because if he
we are taking note of that.
If he's a reviewer for your project, already you can see that a reviewer is having some issues and you may not be there to defend yourself. And so you should be clear enough, because the interaction we're having here is to make us think of how to submit excellent proposal. And when the reviewers are looking at this, you will not be there when they are assessing your application. So that is quite important. When you say effect, the point is that, as Prof said, effect is intuitively referring to intervention. You have an intervention you are evaluating. I think some of you have reached out to the mentoring program. We can fine tune this in that place. But the other thing is that one of the questions reviewers may ask is that, okay, if you know that COVID has had impact on children's academic performance, and so what? We know COVID will have that. It has had impact across places, across industries. So what? So what is that knowledge going to do for us? You understand? And so your study should not only aim to have data on what COVID has done. Without that data, we already know that there is impact. I think you can go a step further to propose what can be done in that situation, because the damage has been caused already. So what can be done to these children who are affected by this pandemic? So that is an aspect I think you need to think about, how you can add that. And then if you agree to add that, I will say the same thing I said to Group 7 when I said the first two M's of their proposal. If you can add that, it means that your project, the current one you have now, should be a preliminary data. It will not be a hard hit for the application. if you have, for instance, institutional funding that can allow you to use a subset, for instance, you can say in Ghana, you go to maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 schools to evaluate this and use that data to support your application to say, COVID has affected children in this way, but my study aims to find strategies to intervene in what has happened to these children. Right? So I think that would be more selling point than just knowing what effect COVID has caused. Even when without that, we know that COVID, if every parent knows that, you know, every community knows that. So think of how you can
Well noted,
cover
Prof.
that. Okay. So Naomi, you have something to say?
Thank you.
Is Naomi part of this group?
Hello.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Mine
go
was
ahead.
just a comment on the title. I just thought the impact would have sounded better than the effect.
It's
Because
both. Both of them are
same.
referring to the same thing. Eh?
Same thing.
Thank you.
Impact and the effect are the same. Okay, thank you very much. I think they have noted that. Let's go to group 9.
Yes. Group 9, we have either Johnston or Zainab. Are they on call?
Johnston and
we agreed that Johnston will present in the absence of Zainab.
is Johnston here? Please unmute yourself if you're here.
Yes, I'm here.
Please go
Let me
ahead.
try to present.
Thank you, Johnston.
So you have 10 minutes, Johnston.
Yes. So I'm taking like, yeah, in a minute. Trying to, can you see?
Yeah. Can you make it bigger? Because it looks, are you using your phone or?
Okay.
Are you using your phone?
Yes, let me use the laptop.
No, just go ahead. We don't have time for changing to laptop if you.
Okay. Can you see?
Yeah, we can manage. Johnson, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, thank you very much. So this is, I'm presenting on behalf of Group 9. Our topic is, we decided to work on a topic of malaria, because malaria is, I think, one of the leading top 5 causes of morbidity and mortality in Africa. And we see a lot of pregnant mothers and infants being affected. So that is the topic. So we came up with an intervention, developing a community-based multi-sectoral approach in sustaining a low-cost malaria prevention practice among mothers and infants in Africa. In terms of aims and objectives, I think all of you know about the Anopheles mosquito. That's the main carrier for the Plasmodium that causes malaria. We are looking at 3 objectives. First of all, we are interested in collecting baseline data as reference for rating this intervention. Then we look at implementing the set of intervention into the population of interest. And then the third one, we are looking at determining the impact of the intervention on the population of interest. In terms of background, of course, theoretical and conceptual underpinning in malaria exposure and the susceptibility points to behavior relation to health, belief, and health seeking is in is at risk in terms of the population at risk, because you are looking at the young mothers and the pregnant mothers, and the infants are really affected by this disease. The other thing is when you look at the poor environmental and hygiene sanitation conditions around in various parts of the Africa also continues to increase this. For instance, and the very interesting thing that made us develop this topic is because of, if you look at, I think between 2015 and 2017, the global support for malaria has really stalled, and therefore there is need to increase burden and the spread of infection in various rural communities. The other thing, we know Africa is really rich when it comes to various plants and medicinal impotents that can be able to really help the fight against malaria. So we are looking at the major obstacle in terms of ineffectiveness and sustainability of the existent interventions when it comes to fighting malaria. So we are proposing to adopt a safe and a low-cost intervention that is acceptable by the community, that can be able also to reduce the burden of expenditure when it comes to the fight against malaria. So in terms of impact, we are looking at 2 levels. First of all is immediate post-intervention impact. Mothers will be able to understand why they should adopt and utilize the technology to be able to prevent malaria. Then in the long term, we are looking at a reduction in malaria prevention and morbidity and mortality for malaria, with improved quality of life for the pregnant mothers and their infants in the long run. Methods, we want to conduct a stratified sampling of households in Kisumu County and invite consenting mothers of children under 5 to participate in the study, of course, prior to ethical approval. The prevalence of malaria before the intervention and after the intervention will also be estimated by use of laboratory tests. And then, of course, a theory-grounded intervention through educational behavior intervention will be developed and implemented for 10 weeks. After that, then we will do statistical analysis. In terms of the budget, so the project is estimated to 24 months. So yeah, so the budget is $60,000 about there. So we have personnel, 48. Then we have for the training, of course, equipment, and then supply of for data collection, logistics, and as well as publication. So basically that is our intervention, and we look forward to questions unless there's something else for the group members to add, because I think we still have 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, about 2 minutes.
Group members, do you want to add something?
Well, I think it's okay, except the intervention details will come later.
Yeah,
But
that is what I wanted to ask, that I didn't see. If you go to your title, yeah, if you go to your title, yeah, because you mentioned the multi-sectorial approach. But okay, if the intervention is not here yet, I think you need to supply the information, perhaps in the full document, so that we can appraise it properly?
Yeah, in the full document is there. So we are thinking of a candle-like vest where be given to mothers, and this candle has some properties which are able to kill malaria, kill mosquito, sorry.
Okay, so apply the intervention, but one thing I wanted to ask is, has this been done elsewhere before now? Has it been done?
Actually,
Yes.
The suggestion came from observation that these that component from certain herbs, like the orange peel, is a component in some repellents. And we know that these orange peels are everywhere, so we can use it. It's a plus in getting rid of these things from the environment and using it for. So it's sort of waste to wealth relations, waste to wealth. Using that waste to wealth, that's what we were thinking.
Yeah. Johnson, still go to your title, because what Prof is saying now is making this quite look interesting. But you know, when you say developing a community-based multi-sectorial approach in sustaining malaria prevention practice among mothers, you know, this is loaded. It is loaded. When you say multi-sectorial, when you say approach, when you say sustaining, it's loaded. But when you are describing now, you are describing very simple things that are attractive. So in the title, can you bring those items? You're saying banana or orange peels. Can you bring those to here? Because it attracts attention. For instance, using wasted or converting wasted orange peels as a means of preventing malaria in rural areas amongst mothers. That already is asking question. What do they mean here? Is it possible? And that brings somebody to read more into your application. I don't know if you get the point I mean.
Yeah, we get it. It's very, very apt.
Somebody is disrupting. Who is
He's talking.
Yeah, Prof, go on. Let me.
Yeah. I think what you have stated now has crystallized our thinking initially. You know, so I think we will go back to.
Okay. That would be great.
Sorry, my phone, my mic was muted. I said we will go back. Okay, Zainab is around. Can Zainab speak quickly?
Okay, Johnston, well done for that presentation. Prof Mwaru?
Yes, please go on.
Actually, what we were thinking is trying to make out limonene from wasted oranges, because I see lots and lots of oranges around wasted, and the active ingredient for most of these organic based or non-chemical based anti-mosquito agents or anti-insecticidal agents are from limonene. So we were thinking if we could just harness this so that this waste can now become a means of getting something useful. So that was just the idea. So I think it is good that you've highlighted it, that we need to capture that wasted material as part of our thinking.
Yeah. I think you have room to improve here in the title. You can say something like this: from waste to benefit, how oranges can stop malaria. Something like that. You know, already you get somebody. I think what you're proposing here is very sustainable approach. But now I think you have to, after this course, go to the aspect of making it attractive, and I think this can attract funding really to fund this project. Okay, I think we'll stop here for group 9 and let's go to group 10. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Group 10, are you there?
Yes.
Group 1, group 2, group 3, are you prepared to go? I think I will have to reduce your time because we wasted time waiting for you before. Our time is to end for today. Our time is just 6 minutes away, but I think you can be patient. We'll go a little more over. So group 1, group 2, group 3, are you ready to?
Are you seeing my screen?
No, not yet.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
So after group 10, group 1, get ready, and then group 2, group 3.
Hello.
We're not seeing your screen
Hello.
yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to share it.
Yes.
Can you see it now?
Not yet. Now it's coming. So you have 10 minutes, please. Just be.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay.
You can go to presentation mode.
Okay.
On the right side, you see close to the button before 81%. Just click it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Akinyode Statululope. I'm here to present on behalf of group 10. And the title for our presentation is Awareness of Behavioral Modifiable Risk. Excuse me, please. Okay. Okay. Awareness of behavioral modifiable risk for chronic disease in selected sub-Saharan Africa. The names of the group members are stated below. Chronic diseases are the major cause of death and disability worldwide in the WHO region for Africa. Chronic diseases are projected to account for 23% of all deaths. Introduction. The raised body mass index is an important cause of chronic disease. Prevalence of overweight in the region for Africa is expected to increase in both men and women over the 10 years. At least 80% of the premature heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes, and 40% of cancer could be prevented through healthy diets, regular physical activity, and avoidance of tobacco products. Cost-effective intervention exists and have worked in many countries. The most successful strategies have employed a range of population-wide approaches combined with interventions for individuals. Aim and study objectives. The aim of the study will be, the purpose of the study will be to determine the awareness of behavioral modifiable risk for chronic diseases in Africa. The study objectives will be to assess the awareness of healthy lifestyle factor before and after intervention, to record anthropometrical measurements as they relate to obesity or overweight, to determine the prevalence and determinants of various chronic diseases, to contact the African health policy makers to prioritize awareness as one of the strategies to reduce chronic diseases, and to determine the association between the demographic priorities and level of awareness of behavioral modifiable risk for chronic diseases in Africa. Background. Chronic diseases are leading to cause of death worldwide, with increasing in age groups and genders. Multi-chronic diseases now affect children, adolescents, and adults. And a lot of researchers have carried out 1 or 2 works to ascertain this. We estimate that in the region of Africa, only 2% annual reduction in chronic disease death rates has been discovered. and above existing trend in the next 10 years to save almost 3 million lives. The ultimate goal of this project is to create awareness of behavioral modifiable risks so as to sustainably manage chronic diseases. Also, sustainably respond to behavioral modifiable risk in leading to reduction of chronic diseases. The feasibility of a proposed project is supported by the increasing evidence that human behavior plays a pivotal role in the increasing incidence of chronic diseases. Increasing awareness of behavioral modifiable risks and relevant prevention measures is expected to revert the situation in selected sub-Saharan Africa countries. Through a well-established and committed African Frontier Network, educating communities on behavioral risks and appropriate prevention of chronic diseases in Africa. The innovation and impact is that the project is utilizing awareness as treatment. And since research demonstrates that the vast majority of people with CNCDs do not receive appropriate care, that is the diseases that we are treating, the non-communicable diseases, they are not, people that have been affected are not receiving adequate care. So this project will enable them to be put into consideration. People will be aware of the disease and extent of damage to health, and there will be reduction of death in Africa. The preliminary data, the validity of the instrument will be confirmed by carrying out a pilot test within at least 20% of the minimum sample size selected and respondents. The purpose of the pilot study will be to check the relevance of the instruments and quality of information obtained, to check the appropriateness and understanding ability of the language used in the instrument, to get a preliminary information on what is already known and could guide us on how to scale up. The methodology. The study area will be selected sub-Saharan African countries. We are planning on selecting like 6 countries based on the countries of those of us in the group. We have people in Tanzania, Nigeria, Egypt, Ghana, and other countries. The study design is a descriptive cross-sectional study. The study population, participants between age 18 to 69 years residing in the selected countries will be used. They will be recruited for the exercise. The sample size will be determined using fiscal formula according to KISH 1965, following the formula stated below. The sampling method that will be used will be multi-stage sampling process. And the study instrument that will be used will be questionnaire. That is, we administer the questionnaire to the group involved, and the data will be taken and will be analyzed later. The study tools to be used will be pre and post training on behavioral risk factors. The study equipment will include weighing and height measuring scales, blood pressure measurements. Then the procedure or material to be used will be registration of procedure with ethics body, development of tools, piloting of tools, revision of tools, human subject, and lab test data collection. The data will be collected. The data collection will include survey, observation, secondary data from credible sources. Ethical considerations will also be obtained. Data analysis plan objective 1, to assess the awareness on LD lifestyle factor before and after intervention. Analysis plan. Categorical data from awareness and LD lifestyle factors will be presented in the form of frequency and percentage. Objective 2 is to record anthropometric measurements as they relate to obesity or overweight. 3, to determine the prevalence and determinant of various chronic diseases. Analysis plan. Descriptive statistics will be used to obtain frequency and percentages of the explanatory variables. And 5, to determine the association between socio-demographic characteristics and level of awareness of behavioral risk of chronic
2 minutes
disease.
more. 2 minutes more.
Okay. This is the budget for the proposed project. Impact: innovating ways to utilize awareness as treatment. Thank you for listening.
Okay, take us to your title page, the first page. Okay, awareness of behavioral modifiable risk factors for chronic diseases in selected sub-Saharan Africa. Africa. Group 10, I think that this project is loaded, it's too loaded. So I think what you should do is to, because when you say chronic diseases, there are many chronic diseases out there. So when we are developing application for funding, I want to get money, we need to be quite specific to the extent that what we are going to do will be feasible to achieve. Because those who give the money will want something that is feasible and that will make impact. So when you say modifiable risk for chronic diseases, they do not know which one you mean. Is it you're going to look at all chronic diseases, or you're going to look at certain chronic diseases? It's not clear. So I think you have work to do here in fine-tuning your project. That is one. The second thing is selected sub-Saharan African countries. How will you make the selection? Is it based on the burden of diseases, or what is your criteria of selecting which countries you do? And then the other thing is that your study is primarily descriptive, okay? Which is fine, It is possible that for some diseases, this information is not available. But if it's primarily descriptive, the attraction to put money into it is low, because many of the things you want to do are possibly done through regular national surveys that are carried out by national institutions. So funders may say, well, why do we want to invest money into a new project when the national institution collects information about the things we can already get from standing surveys that are carried out? So as we mentioned, the idea should be novel, it should be innovative, it should be something that will add value and not just replicate efforts, and then it should be feasible. So this aspect, you need to think about it in your project. And if you have registered for the mentoring program, I think we can bring this forward and discuss further. Okay, thank you very much, Group 10. Let's go to Group 1. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. I'm giving you 6 minutes to make your presentation because our time is spent, and then you lost your time when you're supposed to present. So 6 minutes, then I will stop here and move forward. We need to conclude. Okay, Group 1, are you ready now? Okay.
Hello.
Is Group 1 there?
Hello, Professor. This is Epifan from Group 1. Unfortunately, we are not able to designate somebody to present, and at the last time you could not put together everything. So we have the document now, but nobody was designed to appointed to present. So
okay, let's go to Group 2.
Yes.
Group 2, are you ready?
Yes, I am sharing presentation. You see my presentation?
Not yet. Okay, so it should be After group 2, group 5, actually, group 3 has presented. Sorry about that. So after group 2, group 5. Yeah, group 2, go on. You have 6 minutes, please.
Our area of interest is continuous burden of infectious disease in Africa. Title of project, COVID-19 and health sector. We study impact, responses to pandemic, and the future directions in Africa. Sorry, I have to get. COVID-19 is a chronic infectious respiratory disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus, reported as a pandemic by World Health Organization. There are now more than 1 million, nearly 1,070,000 cases and more than 3.5 million deaths worldwide, and critical cases are increasing in several countries. Africa cases are rising. Nearly we have 3.5 million cases and more than 88 deaths. Algeria, South Africa, and Cameroon reported highest fatality rates. COVID-19 pandemic has an economic impact, social impact, public health of African countries. However, let us note about this the specific impact of COVID-19 on healthcare sector, the response of the government and public to the pandemic, whether these policies and responses were effective or not, and in due time. The pandemic may be a crisis, doubling the effect of these challenges as well as opportunity to act and find unusual solutions that have long-lasting effect on, especially for the healthcare sector. Our objectives to investigate social, economic, and public health impact of COVID-19 on health sector in Africa, identify strengths, challenges, barriers, and limitations facing healthcare sectors for control of this specific pandemic, analyze the government and public responses to the pandemic regarding the healthcare sector over the past year in different African countries, and finally to design a plan to face these barriers and solve current healthcare sector problems. The outcomes from this project, identification of negative effect of COVID-19 crisis on health sector in Africa, identification of challenges and barriers for healthcare systems, recognition of successful efforts made to tackle negative effect or impact of COVID-19 on African countries, and designing a plan to overcome challenges and negative effects. Setting up RCCE and SPCC frameworks for epidemic control, prevention, and management in Africa in order to achieve health for all. Publishing a review article and at least 3 publications from this project. The challenges and barriers, including poor or bad policy and regulations, poor data and poor recording of data in the health management system, funding low and low budget allocation to health sector in Africa, lack of community engagement, lack of regulations, commercialization of health and healthcare workers and population attitude, lack of knowledge dissemination, and lack of infectious diseases framework, including the number of wards and ICU beds and equipment in hospitals. This is the proposed framework. Yes, this is the proposed workflow, literature review, research question settings, and setting of objectives. We will have mixed study design, including quantitative and qualitative. Qualitative data will include focus group discussions and interviews and observations using checklists, and then we will proceed to statistical analysis. And this is the conceptual framework. The population includes all healthcare sector members, including physicians, pharmacists, nurses, and scientists, epidemiologists also, and the private sector managers, also general population as consumers for healthcare, KI managers and representatives, stakeholders, community leaders, and also those representative of World Health Organization and non-governmental organizations. This is all what we have done. For the budget, we set the framework, but we didn't set budget before because the methodology is not completed yet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Group 2. Does anyone have any points or any question for Group 2? Okay, Group 2, just to also mention, as I did to the other groups that we are looking at the impact of COVID, perhaps it's because really we know that COVID has impacted all sectors in different ways. And if you come to Africa, yes, the healthcare sector has been impacted. So when you say impact, we already have that information without having the data, of course. But like I said too, I'm not sure which group was that. You can perhaps tweak the question instead of just having the say impact. You could look at maybe level of impact, or you're looking at impact at specific area, or I'm not sure how much data we have in that. You could also say something about where is the data to make assessment of the impact. That is one approach. Other approach may be that you could do preliminary pilot study. And this could be just collecting information from the different areas you want, because this information will be there in the government sectors, so that you can use the information about the impact you have collected to make application for response and future direction. And that is instead of, future direction, you can reframe it to say preparedness for future outbreaks, preparedness. So using this information for preparedness. But the point there is that you could already get information about impact. This may not be across all countries. It may be even in few countries that this country, this happened. This country, this has happened in the healthcare system. So the question you want to raise here, was this due to the way we have responded? Or is this due to the way the healthcare is already built? And what do we learn from this in going forward? Okay. But I think in the mentoring program, we can look more into what you have here and see how we can make it better, because I think this is also a hot topic that if there are funding opportunities there at this time, you can aim high to make application. But perhaps we can start from few countries, then you can begin to think about going to Africa as a whole later on. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to Group 5 to finalize this. So Group 5, you have 6 minutes, please.
Let me share my screen. Okay. So thank you everyone. For Group 5, I'm Naomi Bissam presenting. The topic we picked was the challenge of brain drain. The title is the impact of education interventions. Okay, the impact of education interventions on brain gain. So this is the outline of our presentation. So in the introduction, Africa is in a constant battle to stem the hemorrhage of our skilled workforce. In a report done by IMF in 2016, by 2050, we would have lost 34 million of our young and educated workers from sub-Saharan Africa to the Western world. And we believe one of the key factors influencing this brain drain is a migration due to limited opportunities in higher education, such as facilities, infrastructure, and financial support in sub-Saharan Africa. Although some efforts have been made to enhance the standard of education, the current situation has been inefficient and not sufficient enough to stem the loss of our skilled workers to the Western world. It is therefore critical to assess the existing interventions and devise new ways to either improve or to enhance these interventions so as to minimize brain drain and to retain our workforce. So the aim of this project is to evaluate the success of existing interventions and propose new ways of retaining the skilled workforce in sub-Saharan Africa. Our specific objectives first is to evaluate the failure of existing interventions and the impact on brain drain in Ghana and Kenya. So we looked at these two countries in comparison to other African countries where you have a better retention of their workforce, and to evaluate what are the existing interventions that exist in these countries and how they are not, what are their loopholes or their weaknesses. And then to identify the interventions that have enhanced and encouraged brain gain in South Africa. So brain gain is being able to attract and retain a workforce, and we've seen that South Africa has been successful as compared to our country, the two countries listed. Then to propose new interventions once we have analyzed those interventions from countries like South Africa, to propose those interventions to improve the state of education in Ghana and Kenya that would then be done through pilot studies that then would be used to inform the interventions that should be retained. Then to evaluate the success of the interventions used in those pilot studies to then develop a framework of creating a policy statement. So our methodology, our study area would be Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa. South Africa being the country that has better interventions, and Ghana and Kenya where you have education sector that is lacking. Then the target population will be looking at students, lecturers, and university administrations. So research design is through a mixed method, where we would conduct surveys using questionnaires, interviews, and focus group discussions, and then analyze the data from these tools. Then we do a regression analysis of the data to determine the key components of the quality education that are directly causative towards brain drain, and then develop pilot studies in University of Ghana and University of Eldoret, so two universities in Kenya and Ghana, that will implement those interventions and then to assess their impact. So the expected impact is to build the capacity of students and professionals in the educational sector to improve the education towards improving retention of the workforce, and then to create and strengthen collaboration and knowledge exchange, because we saw that is one of the ways in which to retain our workforce within sub-Saharan Africa. And then to develop a policy document from the information we would have developed from the policy studies that can guide governments and institutions to implement those interventions that will successfully reduce brain gain and enhance brain gain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nomi, for the presentation. And I think the point you have made here is a very critical thing with regards to African development. Because if you go everywhere in the world, Africans are making huge impact. If you look at Joe Biden's administration, you can see the number of Africans that have been put in that administration, giving you an insight of what Africans are doing outside. It's so discouraging that many of those people, when they are in Africa, their abilities were subdued. And once they get out, you see that there's a manifestation of extraordinary talent and strength and gift. So this question you're asking is important, really. The challenge of brain drain, the impact of educational interventions. I don't know, this is my problem. I don't know how much this can go and how much attractive this can be. The question itself is important, But perhaps you can also begin to think about it in another way. And this is my clue I may give to you. You can perhaps tweak this around the role of the diaspora. The role of the diaspora. I think that is one area in this conversation, because we have been having this conversation. The policies are there in many countries, but they are not working. What about the diaspora? How can the diaspora play a role? What we are doing here is the impact of the diaspora. What we have done here the whole of this week is the impact of diaspora. And there are people who are doing different things there, here and there. So if you're looking at how government can support in this, perhaps it may be not really local education, because it's not, I don't know how much that can have an effect, but rather how much the diaspora, these people, you can't stop people from doing what they want to do. People want to go outside, but how can government encourage those who have gone outside to bring in what they have gained? I think that is one thing you can think about, because it's a discussion many countries. If you look at China, what China did was China used a strategy. Many of their people, they send them abroad, they send them, go and get the knowledge, get the skills, and then they bring them back. But before they bring them back, they have provided the opportunities for them to implement that, what they have learned from abroad. So I think this is one area you can also think about. But I hope some of you are in the mentoring program, you can bring this, and then we can look at it carefully together to see what direction this can go, and see if we have opportunity to get it, funded also. All right, thanks very much. Let me quickly finish up here. I presented this on Monday. Okay, so our vision is to raise the next generation of African scientists with right competencies to drive Africa's developmental and transformational agenda through innovative scientific research. This is our mission. And I just want to repeat it so that you know why this week has been what it is. And this also relates to what Group 5 has presented in Brain Drain. So trying to give back and see how that can help to improve where Africa is and what Africans are doing. Because we believe that science has a huge contribution to make. All the things you have presented here today have their foundation in science. And once we make our contribution in these areas, you can imagine where the continent would be. For too long, we have left everything to the politicians, many who do not understand what it means to build a society. But if we, as scientists who have the skill set, have the knowledge, come out and contribute, we will do well. But before we can contribute, we need to have the right competencies. And we in the Frontiers initiatives want to see how we can contribute in building those competencies. And I hope with regards to grant writing as a scientist, this week has been helpful for you, and your goal for this will have been reached. So we want to instill excellence in Africa science through competence acquisition, capacity building, and career development. We want to contribute to African science that tackles Africa's developmental challenges. Only competent science can change our current narratives. Okay, so what can you do? Please spread the word to colleagues. If this week has been helpful to you, tell it to somebody. You see, when they say revolution, it can start from one person. Tell it to somebody. Bring your colleagues to attend the next course. Let them apply. We are very flexible to see what we can do. We plan to have 50 people, but eventually, given the number of interests we got, we expanded to 100, even though about 30% of those didn't even show up, which is not good. But still, having had opportunity to train 60 to 70%, 60 to 70% of the people here is something we have done, which is great. So spread the word. You are freely received, preach, freely give, tell others, and bring them. So join and support our activities. We have the Frontiers Seminar Series going on now. Please join that. Within that, the next version is coming on Sunday. If you have not registered, it's still open, so you can register. Eman, I know you have put that link in the morning in the chat box. You can put it now so that those who have not can click it and register. Join us on Sunday, 5 p.m. GMT. And within that, we have the aspect we call My Career, My Story, where we allow and bring Africans who are doing well to tell us how they have gone through their career path, the story of their career, to encourage others. And we had that the first quarter of the year, end of March, and the next version will be coming 20th of June. We still have space. So if you think you have story to tell us, please get in touch to me or Eman. And then if not, if you have somebody that you think can feature in June, end of 20th of June, please get in touch. I think we'll connect. And then we also have room for moderators. If you think you can moderate, please get in touch. We can find a place for you to moderate some of those sessions that we have. We are planning, we are in progress to what we have done this week to begin to see how we can influence the private sector to begin to come into funding in Africa. So we plan a study around survey on private sectors. What I'm bringing this here is that I'll be in touch with you, with those of you who have been here, to when we conclude on this survey, so that you can help to spread that information. And if you want to be part of that study, no problem, we can organize it. I think we can discuss this more in the mentoring program, but the survey to understand why are private sectors not supporting our research? What is the academia doing? How can we bridge this gap? That is a key question. And that can be the opening of huge opportunity for funding for African science. So keep in touch. We have what we are building now. We call the Frontiers Alumni. Those who have attended our courses, please try to be part of that. It's the one way you can play a role. We also have what we are building as ambassadors, those who will carry these ideas to different contexts and sell it and push people to come to join this bandwagon so that we can move Africa. I think together we will make Africa proud as we go on. Okay. Apart from the seminar series we have this year, we are also planning for next year, another set of series. And there we want to spotlight cutting edge research that's going on across different fields in Africa. What are people doing in engineering, in research that is transforming Africa, in the arts and humanities, in medicine, in businesses? We'll come back to you because we want to find out who are those who are top leading research in these different fields. I want to bring them on board to tell us how are they doing it in Africa? What has been their motivating factor? What has been their barriers in achieving their goals? Still, they are doing cutting edge research. So that will be 2022. Please get in touch and we'll carry that forward. Okay. So please remember to fill in the cost evaluation. Don't leave it not filling it, because that will be helpful for us to improve the course. And then those who have contacted for the video selfie, please help us to do that. Okay, any final words from you? If not, I will see you in next training. But if you want to say something, feel free to open your mic and go on. I see Epiphany raising your hand. Please, can you go on and speak?
Hello. Okay. Yeah. I just want to say thank you, Professor, for this opportunity that I had to attend this course. It was very beneficial because my own research proposal has just been approved and waiting for presentation. So that's very timely for me, and thank you for that. Beside that, I have a question, please. How long will the materials in the Dropbox be available, still available?
I've not decided that, but if I have other things that are coming to the Dropbox, I will have to empty the ones that are redundant there. So if you have opportunity to take them as soon as possible, because they will not be there forever. I will take them out and make space for other things I will save there.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I have Zainab.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for having your time, for sharing all the knowledge, all free of charge. It hasn't been so easy on our part, but we did it. I think it's a success. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Okay, I have Saha.
Hello.
Hello, go on.
I would like to thank you, Prof, for this opportunity. Really, this is meaning for us. It's a big opportunity for us. But I have one question that some funder asked to link your project or to link your research to industry or other partner. I didn't what they mean by this.
To link your what? Your project to what?
Yeah, to industry or other partner.
Yeah. So that is what we are talking about, and that's why I want to send that survey. You know, many researches going on in Africa are done in silos. And so for you to have greater impact, they want the academia to begin to have close interaction with the big players of the money, and that is the industry. And in many places like technology, that is easy to achieve because many industries, for instance, you have research going on in a country and you have this MTN, this telecommunication, you can partner with them to do that research. I think they are trying to promote cutting the bridge that exists. In this country I am in Sweden, that is one of the fantastic things I have seen in this country. The private sector and the academia are together, very, very, very closely together for the transformation of the society. And I think in many countries, this should be a model that should be used. The separation is too much in many countries. Okay, I have Kia.
No.
Hello, Professor Bright.
Yes, go on.
Yeah, just to say, in order to transform Africa, we need the people with open-minded like you. My dear, I have enjoyed a lot since we started this program on Monday, and I have gained a lot, and you make the world easy. So I promise you that I'm going to use the knowledge and the skills that you have imparted to me to make my life easy. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to CO Mwigwe.
Hello, Prof. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Honestly, I wish to say that I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity that you gave me to be part of this program. I think I should be the last person or so to click submit in this program. How I knew that was that when I wanted to make some changes, they said the thing has closed. So, and fortunately for me, I was chosen to be in this program. I love it so much, and I think I've learned a lot from it. Even my wife, who is a biochemist that linked me to this, was not taken. So I used to laugh at her and say, that's the way good things come, and they will just go to somebody, they won't go to the other person. So, but so okay. I thought, yeah.
Thank you
I'm
very
very,
much.
very grateful. Yes, I'm
Thank
very
you.
grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But
Okay.
I want to ask you something, sir.
Yes.
If I have a project I'm writing, would I be free to consult you to look at it for me and to help me?
Yes, contact me. If it's something I can't do, I don't have time, I know how to say no, and I know how to say yes. So feel free to write me and let me know. I can always find time to discuss with you and guide you, but there are certain things I cannot do because of the time I have. But write me, I will make assessment of what it is and let you know my decision.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
let's hear from Prof. Atuloma.
Right. I just want to say thank you for giving me another chance of this experience. Last year, July, we had the systematic review of meta-analysis. I'm still basking in the glory of that particular workshop. And I'm still going through the videos to perfect all the training that we had. And I'm using this opportunity to encourage the investment you are making in all of us in Africa. And that God will help you and expand your coast, increase your knowledge, skills, competence. And I admire your competence in these subject matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof. And just to announce to everyone that he was my teacher. I admired when I was at the university, so he brought me up. So it's a pleasure to see him here. So, Prof, thanks very much. And this is the fruit of your labor in those days.
Oh, thank you.
You
Thank you very much.
You didn't know how it was going, but you were selfless. So
in fact,
yeah.
You have flown beyond the skies.
Thank you very much, Prof.
You're welcome.
Okay, I have Inyasha. Inyasha, go on. Inyasha, mute yourself and go on so that we can end.
Okay, thank you, Prof, and thank you, everyone. I just want to say thank you very much for the training. It was very insightful, especially to me. At least I managed. Now I got rid of some of my fears, and I want you to be blessed. Keep doing this, because at times during the course of this week, it would be difficult for me to always attend, but I would break because of electricity and because of other things at times, but you were so always committed to the sessions that you were supposed to be there, which is not an easy task. So we really appreciate, I really appreciate, and I'll send the message to my other colleagues as well. And hello?
Go ahead.
Okay, and I wanted to say, I don't know, forgive me about that. We, at my university, we are also having an international conference on COVID-19, which is due on it's a virtual one, from the 29th of July to the 30th of July. So I wanted to say, we are looking for proposals for abstracts from different people. So is it okay if I share with you the flyers, the websites for submitting the abstracts, because we are putting them on EasyChair, and then every information, then probably you can circulate it to other people if it's fine with you.
You mean to the class, eh?
Yes, to the class and their other peers.
Yeah. Please, you have the email list. I think the class will be happy to share that. So feel free to send that. If you don't have the email list of the class, send it to me. I will forward it to everyone.
Yeah, because we are publishing with Springer again, so probably bring your best, some of your best.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's have Theopista and Ibeachu Chinagoram, then we'll end.
Very
Take
much,
those
Prof.
two.
Personally, I want to thank you. I was lucky to have Prof. Atuloma bring me to this platform, but since we started the systematic review course up to now, I feel I don't want to miss anything, and this has motivated me. It has challenged me. It has taught me. I mean, I really appreciate your efforts. one thing that touched me this week is the motivation speech that you said yesterday morning. I wished you had begun with it, because like the second day,
The best come last, Theo.
yes, so I mean, when everyone else's effort has gone down, then you move us up, and it always brings me back on board. So I want to thank you passionately, because you're putting in a lot of effort, a lot of brain, a lot of time for us. So I think I will miss the rest, because I have gone through systematic review workshop, I've gone through reproducibility, and every time we come from such workshops, we want to develop something. At some point, I feel it's much, yes, but it is worth it. I don't want to be left behind.
Don't be left behind, Theo. Thanks very much.
So the zeal that you put in us, I really appreciate. Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay, Chinagoram, please. Chinagoram, are you there? Okay, maybe we'll take Abia. Since you have raised your hand, let's hear from you.
Yes, Prof. I would like to present my thankful to all people who organize and execute the 1 week full day intensive course on research funding and grant writing. I was so lucky and proud to attend this distinguished course in terms of depth and spread of learning materials provided. Also, this course gives me opportunity to exchange and acquire new ideas and knowledge as well from diverse learning background and diverse specialties of scholars. Also, I learned from this course how do I find the appropriate funding for my research work. Thank you so much for your effort and your time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I think we'll end here. It has been a very lovely week for me, and I see anytime I interact with my fellow Africans in this way, I think I also have motivation to move on. So please, in any way you can support us, spread the word, join the programs. This is the way we can move forward. I like what Theo said, and that is true. I remember in January, the group we have been mentoring, in December, I told them something. Let's end the year with one thing. Go out in January, come back, each of you, to tell us what you want to achieve in your career in 2021. So I made a speech in January. I'm not sure if they still remember it. And I heard somebody says, Prof, you push us to the sky, to move on. Yes, that is where we need to be. You can see that Africa has what it takes to raise itself to work. And I think with that motivation, I can't stop delivering all this, because I know that is the key. We scientists need to come out. We need to demonstrate that we know what we are doing and we can do it. We can lead the nation in the right direction with what we do. And but these competencies, we need to have it, and then we'll continue to do our best in the frontier. So it's a movement we have started, and then we want to push it to the end until the story of Africa is really rewritten. Okay, I wish you all the best, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you again if you join. You can open your video, and Eman, if you can just take a picture of everyone, I think that would be great.
Please open your video and smile.
Yeah,
Everyone.
smile like me.
Everyone is ready?
Yes, we are ready, Eman.
Okay.
Are we taking? We are smiling so much, Eman.
the second group.
Okay, now?
Still we have one group.
One more group? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
All right. And those who have asked for the selfie, please do it within the time so that we can push that online, and then you can share that with colleagues as well to motivate them. Have a good time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.